Everyone, can you hear me?
Yes. Hey Ben, how are you?
I'm good, I'm good. Hello, hello. I see a lot of people are joining the webinar today. It's very happy to see a lot of people. Yeah, we got a really interesting markets in the last few months, and we're gonna talk about it. We're gonna talk about what the algorithm thinks about the market for the next few weeks, the next few months. We're gonna see some examples from the last few days, and we're going to start real soon. We have a really interesting webinar today, so um, it's worth being with us until the end. And if you have any questions, please feel free to ask us through the Q&A. It's in the bottom of your Zoom platform. Ask us questions during the webinar. We'll try to answer them all until the end of the webinar, so feel free to ask us. And we're gonna start in a few minutes. In the meanwhile, I can start with a disclaimer. I know first, the daily market forecast does not provide personal investment or financial advice to individuals or active personal, financial, legal, institutional investment advice or individually advocate the purchase of sale any security or investment in or to use any particular financial strategy. All investing stock forecasts and investment strategies include the risk of loss of some of or all even your capital. So before pursuing any financial strategies discussed on this webinar, you should always consult a licensed financial advisor. The market are going crazy, don't they?
Yes, they are. Yes, they are. And we are going to try to assist the audience by identifying the best sectors in the market right now in this webinar today, and also drilling down into the best sectors and showing how we can use artificial intelligence in order to highlight specific stocks from some interesting sectors that are emerging right now as we speak in the market.
Yeah. But first of all, breathe.
Exactly.
Everybody needs to breathe, relax. It will be okay. Do not worry.
Yes, eventually the markets are recovering, and usually those short or negative movements are really short in time and really violent, as we all experiencing right now. But we are going to talk about also the history today, right, Ben?
Yeah, yeah. I don't know what's the average age of our audience, but I guess some of them were in the 2008 and felt some going down market pretty roughly, but so now we have compared to now it's not now it's really a light drop, but of course we can see that in the last few days, in the last few weeks actually, we're seeing the market going down pretty roughly. To talk about that, we're gonna see what the algorithm thinks for the future, for 1 month ahead and even 3 months ahead. So stay tuned, and I think we are ready to start.
Yes, yes, let's start. Um, so today we are going to start Actually, after a quick overview of INO first, we are going to go directly to live updates from the market and see live forecast basically from today. So I'm going to start with a quick overview. INO first, we are AI fintech company. Our main solution is a predictive algorithm that identifying on daily basis and any market conditions the most promising investment opportunities. We are utilizing artificial intelligence, more specifically deep learning, artificial neural network, genetic algorithms to predict the financial market. Our predictive algorithm is generating daily forecasts for 13,500 assets from different asset classes. Equities, ETFs, we are going to discuss in this webinar specific ETFs today, and also the ETF solutions that we are offering. Currencies, commodities, interest rates, and also world indices with daily forecasts for multiple timeframes, short-term, mid-term, and also long-term. This is a global solution that's basically providing daily forecasts for over 50 global stock exchanges, including the stock exchanges in the US, Canada, Europe, China, Japan, and India, and other about 50 global stock exchanges. And if we basically jump into the market, we can see the forecast that the algorithm was generating already last month, the 9th of February. We can see the negative prediction that we had for the S&P, for the Dow Jones, for the NASDAQ, and we can see the VIX on the top out of this heat map. And also we can see, of course, Tel Aviv, one of the stock exchanges that we are, one of the few stock exchanges that actually went up during this period, along with Europe. And if we're jumping into the markets right now, we can see an example of today's top 10 prediction. We can see the stocks that the algorithm identified. At the top out, we can see stocks that the algorithm picked for the long side, basically to buy. And on the bottom, we can see stocks that the algorithm was recommending to short sell. Actually, we can see that the signals, the number below the ticker in the bottom, are much stronger than the ones that are in the top out of this heat map. And we can see the sharp movement of the stocks that appear in the bottom of this heat map versus the movement of the stocks that are appearing at the top out of this heat map. This is a short-term forecast. And in this webinar, we are going to see many predictions, many live predictions like that. It's interesting to see that despite the negative market, the algorithm managed to identify several stocks that are moving against the market.
Yeah, exactly. In a going down market, you can see that in the top 10 package, the algorithm found 5 stocks. The first 5 stock actually went up. This is just after the opening, and we can see the stocks that went down pretty roughly in the bottom of the forecast. And we're going to explain about the green part and the red part and how to use the forecast.
And this is basically the first tip for today. Whenever you see that the strongest signals are pointing to the negative side, it's a very good signal it's a very good warning signal, basically. So always track the signal strength. We are going, for those of you that don't understand what is signal, we are going to explain later on in this webinar regarding the indicators that we see here. But you can see that the algorithm had a bearish prediction for the market. The S&P forecast was also negative for today, and we can see the live performance of those predictions. This prediction was sent yesterday. And another very interesting forecast that we are going to focus on this webinar today is our level 1 sectorial forecast. Ben, do you want to explain what is the level 1 GIGS?
Yeah, the geeks level one is the 11 main sectors in the S&P 500. You all know them probably like the XLK, XLF, XLY, the consumer, the tech, the financial sector. And we have a forecast specifically for those 11 sectors, and we can here we can see that in the next 2 weeks, that is from today, of course. I mean, like 9th of March is yesterday because there was no trading yesterday. It's relevant for today. We can see that the three best sectors that the algorithm suggests us to be in are the healthcare, XLV, XLP, consumer, and XLRE, the real estate, and they all going up right now. If we're looking at the three negative most sectors in the forecast, we can find XLY, XLF, XLK, and we can see that they are negative as we speak. And so in this specific webinar, we're going to show you how you can focus and drill down to these specific sectors and even find the best stock out of these specific sectors. So for example, if we saw that XLP is one of the best sectors, we have the ability, and you have the ability to choose a package that's called XLP, the basic consumer. And in this package, in the first 3 days forecast, you can find those 4 stocks that are all going up right now against the market. I think it's amazing that we can find stocks that are going up in more than 2%, while the S&P is down right now, I think 1.5%, and the Nasdaq is almost more than 3%, and the S&P is already 2%. So we can find stocks that are moving up against the market after seeing the best sectors here, and we're gonna see what's going on with XLV and XLRE later on. But just for example, if we would take the XLP, which is the one of the greenest sectors that we see, and drill down into this universe, those were the first 4 stocks with the strongest signal. We're going to talk about the signals in a few minutes, but they have the strongest signal, and they are in the top of the forecast. And we can see that they are moving up. I took this screenshot just after the opening, a few minutes after the opening, and that's pretty amazing. And this package is available for you, and we're going to talk about how you're going to use sectors and those packages later on.
Exactly. So we identified the leading sectors, the leading level 1 sectors in the market right now by using AI. And then we were drilling down into the best sectors. We are going to do this exercise in this webinar and share some live predictions. Also take into consideration the overall color that we see here, the overall green color that is quite, let's say, quite unique in the market today, while other sectors are pretty red. And also the strongest signals are coming from the top out of this heat map, unlike,
And in this package, just a quick note that we have 10 stocks to buy and 10 stocks to short, let's say 7 stocks to short, but you don't see it because we erased them. We just gave you a quick and small example of this forecast. We won't reveal the entire forecast, of course, but just the 4 main stocks in this specific package.
Okay, so before those live examples, or after those live examples, let's continue with the overview. Don't worry about that. We're going to go back to the market really quick, and this is actually the main subject of this webinar. So a little bit about the INO-FIRST team, the INO-FIRST R&D team. The INO-FIRST predictive algorithm was developed by our unique R&D team that being led by Dr. Lipa Roitman, one of the leading experts in the field of artificial intelligence, machine learning, with over 20 years of experience, a PhD from the Weizmann Institute of Science. And Dr. Roitman is leading our unique R&D team that includes PhDs, AI and machine learning experts. We have math professor from Tel Aviv University, as well as people with the background of data science, computer science, math, statistics, and IDF veterans. My name is Yaron Golger. I'm the CEO and co-founder of AM First. I'm also lecturing at one of the leading universities in Israel in the subject of fintech AI. I'm the chairman of the Israeli Export Institute FinTech Board. And today, Ben Rubin is going to lead the webinar. Ben is the head of our advisory, the head of our advisory team. Ben used to work for Bank Hapoalim, one of the leading banks in Israel, as a financial advisor. And the AM First is being trusted by the world's leading hedge funds, investment houses, banks, family offices, brokerage firms, as well as retail individuals, retail clients. Among this list, you can find investment houses. With some of them, we have launched AI-powered products. We have here hedge funds, banks, and family offices among this list. The solution that you're about to see has received several international awards, including from the Geneva Wealth Tech Forum, UBS, and NC Data in Japan. And here you can see several photos from those ceremonies. And we are really proud to be a lecturer or to deliver a fintech course in the Reichman University, one of the leading universities in Israel, for the third year already. In our website, you can find different media coverage about the AM First algorithm, about the AM First team. Feel free to navigate in our website. In the website, you can find also different client reviews that can help you to choose the package that is suitable to you. And Ben, yes, you are muted.
To whom of you who haven't joined our WhatsApp community yet, feel free to do it now by scanning the barcode that you can see in your screen and join our WhatsApp community while we're sharing forecasts and sharing AI articles. We also, in the end of this webinar, we'll reveal the MAG 7 forecast for the next 2 weeks. And the main indices, so you can only see it in our WhatsApp group, so feel free to scan the barcode and join us in our WhatsApp group community. And in the same way, we are our YouTube channel. Also, while we are uploading almost on a daily basis, some videos about the market, really interesting videos and forecasts. So please subscribe and follow our channel, our YouTube channel as well. You can do it by scanning the QR code.
Right. Okay. We are offering 2 solutions to our clients. For the first product is the product that's relevant to most of you. We are providing daily predictions that our algorithm is generating that includes the best opportunities for both long and short for different time frames, short-term, mid-term, and also long-term. The daily forecast can help you to identify the trend in the market, whether it's a bullish trend or negative trend, by using the daily S&P forecast that's included in some of the packages, and also to identify the best opportunities for the different time frames. And we are going to show several examples in the first part of the webinar. On top of that, we are also developing systematic trading strategies that converting the daily forecast into a managed portfolio. This solution is relevant to institutional clients that would like to systematically to use artificial intelligence in order to systematically manage their portfolio. And we are going also to talk about this solution later on. We have different products, different financial products that we have already developed. The INO-first predictive algorithm includes 3 components. By utilizing the first component, it's possible to use AI in order to identify the most promising investment opportunities for the different time frames, short-term, mid-term, and also long-term. The second component is the stock market intelligence component. It's assisting us to identify the leading sectors in the market, leading regions across the globe, and also sectors and regions that we should avoid. Basically, we shared in the beginning of this webinar an example of how to use the AI in order to identify the leading sectors, and then we can go one step further, drill down into the leading sectors and identify the best investment opportunities. The third solution is a customized solution that providing a customized focus based on each client portfolio. And by combining those 3 solutions, it's possible to optimize our portfolio. And how we do it, the algorithm is collecting quantitative data sets that coming from the entire financial market. We are using thousands of data sets that are coming from different asset classes. Over data sets that coming from the equity side, from the equities market, stock market around the globe, over 50 global stock markets. We are collecting data sets coming from the interest rate market, data sets that are coming from the commodities market, currency market, even the cryptocurrencies market. We are adding the daily feed, the daily data that's coming all the time from the markets that we are monitoring to our database. We are managing database with historical data. And around the clock, the algorithm is learning from the new data that's coming all the time from the market, learning from the historical data, as well as from the combined data. And by using our technology, the algorithm is building the complex network that exists in the financial market. There are thousands of correlation sets in the market, and the algorithm is being able to model those relationships or to build this network, this complex network, without any human intervention on a daily basis from scratch, basically. And before each trading day, the algorithm is generating the most updated forecast for the different timeframes that we see on the right. The short term, 3 days, 7 days, 14 days, 1 month, 3 months, and even 1 year. And this process is being done on a daily basis. Every day, the algorithm is identifying the most relevant opportunities for the upcoming days. And of course, the algorithm is learning from each successful and also failure and taking it into account in the next forecast, basically. We are combining different advanced AI methods into one algorithm. We are utilizing deep learning, artificial neural network, genetic algorithms, supervised and reinforcement learning. And basically the goal of the predictive algorithm is to separate the unpredictable parts in the market and to focus on the most predictable assets of each investment universe. So if we are taking the entire S&P 500 universe as an example, on a daily basis, the algorithm is separating and focusing on the most predictable assets from the S&P 500. And this is what we basically delivering to you guys. So every day you are receiving daily forecast that is based on the most predictable assets that the algorithm is identifying every day. The stock picking process. We are monitoring the entire US market. Actually, we are doing it for the entire financial market. But in this example, we are focusing on the US market. We are applying our technology, our algorithm, in order to identify and to focus on the most predictable stocks. And then we are creating a ranking. We're ranking the different stocks in order to identify the best stocks for the different time frames, 6 time frames, short term, mid term, and also long term. And every day we are updating this process, or every day you are receiving an updated forecast with the updated market forecast, S&P forecast, and the best stock picks for both the long side and also the short side. And this is being sent to your email on a daily basis. So when you're waking in the morning and opening your email, the updated forecast is already waiting for you with the best opportunities for the upcoming days.
So how this forecast looks like, the forecast comes in the shape of a heat map, as we can see here. The green cells represent long position, while the red one represents short position. And we are using two indicators and actually to rank the entire investment universe. And one of them is the signal, is the number that you see in the middle of each and every square. And the signal actually represents the predicted movement of the specific asset or price deviation of the specific asset. It's our internal index, and it's help us to rank all the assets that the algorithm actually predicts, more than 13,000 assets on a daily basis. And in that way, we can know which asset has the strongest signal, which is located on the top left corner of the forecast, as we can see here. And the signal goes down to the right, down until the one with the strongest signal for short. In this case is the stock court. And we can see that that specific stock has the strongest signal to go down. The other indicator that we are using is the predictability indicator, which located on the bottom left corner of each and every square. And the predictability actually helps us to understand how good the algorithm can forecast a specific asset, or how good the algorithm can read the specific asset. It moves from -1 to 1. It's Pearson correlation measurement. And we can see that the predictability is one of the most important indicators that we use to find and locate the best potential stocks. And I'm going to explain about this specific indicator in the next slide. In both ways, we are looking from both indicators, we are looking for the highest values. Basically, the predictability, we're giving more weight and try to focus on the most predictable stocks, as Yaron said, and give them the highest focus. Basically, after signing to the forecast service, you get the forecast on a daily basis. You'll see the 6 time frames of the forecast: 3 days, 7 days, 14 days, and the 1 month, 3 month, and 1 year. Each and every time frame, you will receive 10 stocks for long and 10 stocks to short. And as we can see in this specific example, here we can see that the signals that are located on the middle of each and every square are growing bigger and bigger as we're moving forward at the time frames. And so is the predictability. Predictability is higher as long as we go forward in the time frames. So the 1 month, 3 months, and 1 year, as we can see here, has the highest predictability levels and the highest signals. And that's why we are highly recommend to focus on those time frames of the 1 month, 3 months, and 1 year, and give them more focus than the shorter time frames. And let's see some few examples from the last few days. We have a very volatile market, but still the algorithm can find, as you saw in the example at the beginning, can locate it and find stocks that are in a positive trend. As you can see here, on the 2nd of March, 1 week ago, in a 3 days time frame, the algorithm gave us those 10 stocks to buy. And we can see that the average of those 10 stocks sum up in 3.38, while the S&P actually moved almost 2% down. Stocks such as XNet that moved 10%, Root that moved 5%, and the GOTU that moved 4.56%. In the same way, the algorithm gave us for a 7 days time frame the best stocks to short. We can find Palantir here, AMSC, and we can find ALKT and RSI that also moved pretty roughly. As you can see, UPST almost 20%, and this specific forecast gave us an average of 11%, while the S&P went down by 3.6. And we can also see in this specific package, which is the top 10, that the algorithm is also providing a forecast about the index itself, the S&P 500, and we saw in the 27th of February that the S&P was pretty reddish, and so is the stocks that was located in the bottom of this forecast. In the same way, we can find in a two weeks time frames, 14 days, in the 23rd of February, the algorithm chose those stocks to buy and hold them for those entire period. And of course, not all the stocks are going in the right direction. We can see here that LNC went to the wrong direction and went down basically, and so is ESGR, but 8 out of 10 went to the right direction and made a 5% average return, while the S&P moved -4%. And actually, in this case, the algorithm located stocks that moved up, while the S&P itself went down, which is, I think, really impressive. In the longer time frame, we can find some of the algorithm suggestions, such as Hood, that moved 36% and it was located on the top of this forecast. We can find Palantir, we can find WSM, which is really interesting stock that just joined the S&P 500 index, and we can find EAT and AZZ that also moved quite significantly. Sorry, in those 3 months, and we can find that the average of this forecast was 8.5%, while the S&P went up by 0.2%. And in the same way, we have the 1-year forecast, a longer time forecast. As we said earlier, you're getting all the time frames in the forecast. So 1 year, from the 5th of March, we can find the best stocks and for hold for the entire period of 1 year. And we can see that the signals here are much higher and the predictability is in higher values. And we can see that this specific forecast made an average of 29.8, while the S&P moved 13.87. Yaron, you want to go for some examples from today?
And here we are jumping back to the market. We see live examples from today's forecast, the forecast that was sent yesterday. This is our S&P 500 package. We can see again that the strongest signals came from the bottom of this heat map, meaning KKR as the strongest signal. RCL is the next one, and COF is the next one, and we can see the live performance, at least the performance at the opening of those stocks, versus DHI that is appearing at the top out of this heat map. This is the example of the short-term forecast. DHI had a positive signal and actually moved up against the market on the opening today. And another interesting example is coming from the XLK drill down, the technology sector. We can find here that first, most of the heat map is red again. The strongest signal is coming from the bottom. We can find that NTAP is the one with the strongest signal. It's located in the bottom, and we can find NWKS as that's appearing in the positive side with positive signals. And in accordance with the forecast, NTAP is moving down right now, and SWKS is moving up.
And
This
by
is
the way,
just,
even the
yeah, please.
SWKS is right now in 1.1, and NTAP is actually minus 2.18. So we took that from the opening, but we see that they are going into separate direction and enlarging the gap between the best long position to the best short position.
Right, right. And this is just a short-term prediction. Every day, as said, we are providing 6 different time frames that being updated on the daily basis. This is another interesting forecast for the telecommunication sector. We can find here 2 stocks from the bottom of the heat map where we can see that the strongest signals are. We can find LYV, Netflix, and on the top part of this heat map, we can find EA and VZ that are performing the market right now. And those picks are for the short term, and it's very interesting to see that despite this negative market, the algorithm is able to identify stocks for both the short side and also for the long side.
Yeah, we've been seeing a really positive forecast on the communication sector for a long time, even from the beginning of this specific year. And it actually moved up during this year and last year. The algorithm really liked this specific sector. So focusing on stocks from this sector can provide really good performance. And in that exact same case, the first picture that we saw at the beginning of this webinar, we can see which of the sectors were recommended by the algorithm. Today, we can see XLV, XLP, XLRE, which is the healthcare, the basic consumer, and the real estate, while the XLK, XLF, and XLY are located on the bottom of this specific forecast. And we can see the results of those sectors right now, which is quite amazing, I think. If we are checking right now, like the market, can see that there are 3 sectors that the algorithm actually focused on to go long, while the others are red, and that's what actually happened in the beginning, in the opening of this trading day. And rather than that, we can focus on each and every sector and take the best picks out of it. The algorithm actually can scan this entire universe and see which stocks are the best from this specific sector. So we can do some stock picking those sectors. So if I'm checking the healthcare sector, which looked good from the beginning of the year, and the algorithm actually liked it from the beginning of 2025, and of course, the algorithm will provide me 10 stocks to long and 10 stocks for short. And you can see that the long positions are the majority of this of the green cells are in this specific heat map. And those 2 stocks with the strongest signal, mRNA and BIIB, are going up against the market in 2% and almost 4%. And finding stocks that are moving up in this specific market, I think it's really hard, but still the algorithm can still locate and find. And I'm talking about the opening of today trading day. I mean, this is a position that you already can sell right after the beginning and make some nice profit out of it. But the algorithm actually gave us the 2 best stocks, which if I'm checking, going for a quick check right now, I'm seeing that Moderna is already 3.5% up, even went higher. So that's pretty amazing from this specific sector. If we'll check the next sector, the XLP, the basic consumer, we can also find the best 4 stocks to be in. The algorithm is providing us the best long stocks to be in this specific market, and we can see that the majority of the squares are green, which indicates for this sector is in a long position, and those stocks are going up. Constellation Brand, STZ, SJM, BFB, and DJ are also quite positive. And while I'm checking them now, I can still see they are positive, even though the Nasdaq is going down more than 3%.
So we have if the S&P is down by 2% right now, we have 7% daily outperformance versus PF.B, which is quite interesting. And basically, by the end of this webinar, we are going to show you how you can utilize those peaks and use those sector selection for your own portfolio as well.
Yeah, of course, and all of those sectors that we see here are available in our webinar sales that we want to talk about them in a few more minutes. If you want to get those packages, you can get them in the webinar sales that we're going to elaborate in a few minutes. And the last sector that we saw, XLV, XLP, and the real estate, XLRE, which also looks quite good in the last few weeks. I'll be seeing a good recovery after being in the red position for for more than 3 and 4 months. We are seeing in the last few weeks that the XLRE, the real estates, are actually looking better and better. And if we'll dive into this specific sector, those are the 4 stocks that the algorithm gave from this universe. And we also can see that they are when those 4 stocks went up, which is also quite impressive. And actually, if I'm checking those stocks right now, they are still positive. AMT right now is 1.6. So again, it's the 3rd sector that we are finding positive stocks in a really going down market, and a really negative market. So stocks that are going against the market in 3 different sectors. I think it's quite amazing. And those sectors are available for you in the packages that we're going to suggest to you in our webinar sales soon. So those were the few sectors. And in another product that we have is the ETF forecast, which I really recommend and like. In this specific forecast, we are focusing on the best ETF from the US market. And here we can see something that is quite remarkable. On the February 3rd, which was more than a month ago, we saw that the algorithm told us to focus on some on the European related ETFs. As we can see here, EWL, for example, it's Switzerland. FEZ, it's the Eurostoxx 50. EWI, it's the Italian market. EWD, it's Sweden. And EWQ is Europe. Hedge, also European stocks. And we can see that the majority of the ETFs that were suggested in this specific package of 1 month time frame were Europe related and made some really good returns. If you're checking just the Europe part, we're seeing an average of more than 5.5%. And the entire package gave us 2%, while the S&P moved down by 3%. I don't think that any of us were against earning 2% in the last month, in a really volatile month, and not losing 3% with the S&P as we're seeing right now. And we can see those ETFs were also suggested on the beginning of March, a few days ago, were still in the top of the forecast. And now we can see that actually almost all the ETFs are Europe related. You can see WL, EWU, EWP, FEZ, and a lot of others that are related to the European market and European stock exchange. So even if the US market doesn't look that good, you can find other alternatives, investment opportunities in this package, in the ETF package, that are interesting, and also a diversity of ETFs that's not just related into the inner US market, also in a geographical way, focusing on Europe, focusing on other sectors that can be interesting right now, and the algorithm is providing that on a daily basis, as we saw in those forecasts.
As we saw in the forecast section, sometimes the algorithm is predicting negative trends for the market. It happened also on the beginning of 2025, and we at the beginning of February, as we see in the beginning of March, of course. And it happened in the past also. It happened 2 years ago, while the S&P 500 had a negative forecast, and among the stocks to short term, we can find several stocks that are coming from the banking sectors in the US, including Silicon Valley Bank that basically collapsed during this period. And it happened also on February 2020, while we started to see the effect of the COVID disease or pandemic over the market. So we saw negative S&P 500 forecast, and the strongest signal came from the bottom of the heat map. The good news is that usually those negative movements are usually short in time and violent, and the algorithm is able to adapt to the recovery as well pretty soon after those crises. So the algorithm is a very good tool that can help you to time the recovery as well, and to time your when it's good to come back to the market after those negative movements.
Yeah, and we had some of those quite negative movements in the last year. If we all remember, last December, while the S&P went down by almost 4% in a few days, and the algorithm that also works as a stock market intelligence unit, helping us to see this downtrend on the 18th of December. We can see multiple indicators that are indicating on the moving down market. For the example, we're seeing the majority of the S&P 500 package is red, and we saw the VIX and the indices package is in the top of the table. The S&P was red, the Dow Jones was red, and we can find also that the interest rate of the government's bonds of the 10 years and the 5 years and 30 years were positive. And of course, we saw some of the majority of the indices in the level 1 sectors was also quite reddish. That all gave us the idea that the market is gonna go down. And that was actually on the 18th of December. It's before that big drop that we're seeing here. That's around this part of the market, while the market actually still went up. So this helped us understand that we are going into a volatile times, and help us to avoid the market as we saw at the mid-December. And another example for how the algorithm can help us and provide us the stock market intelligence is also in October 13. We can see that the 1 month forecast actually suggested that the DAX and the TA90, the Tel Aviv Stock Exchange, and the DAX are stronger than the S&P itself. And we can see the performance of Tel Aviv 90, Tel Aviv 90, compared to the DAX, compared to the NASDAQ, and compared to the S&P. We saw that the signal was much more stronger. The DAX was also quite good, We can see it here after TA 90, and we can find S&P here in the middle of the forecast with not such a strong signal, and the performance was according to the forecast. The TA 90 made almost 30%, while the S&P did 3.1. And also, before we saw the beginning of this negative trend in the markets, we saw on the 20th of February, which is right around here, a really negative forecast for the S&P, for the Nasdaq, for the Dow Jones. We saw the VXN, which is the VIX of the Nasdaq. I mean, the volatility index of the Nasdaq is in the top of the indices forecast, which means that the volatility is supposed to go up. So we also kind of looked at this forecast and understand that the volatile times are ahead of us and help us to avoid the markets. In this specific chart, we can also see that the S&P 500 index actually had a lot of issues in those years. This is from 2009, and we see the number of incidents and things that happened in the market. But the point here is that although all those events, the market still went up, and still each and every few years, and you see that has a positive return. So a lot of things are happening in the market, but eventually we can tell that the S&P 500 is keep going up. So we have to take everything in proportions. And I think for this negative trend that we are experiencing right now, we also come to an end someday, and we need to keep and be positive and focusing on the positive side of the market, and take the zoom out and understand that that markets can be volatile, but the big trend, the big movement is always up, and keep that in our minds. And another positive way of look at the markets, if we are checking the average performance of each and every month from 1928 up until the last few years, we can see that February generally is a negative month, and March is supposed to be positive, and April is the second most positive month in the year. So we can hope for some good and positive results in the following month, and that's some positive point of view of the market. And we want to talk about some of the packages that we suggest and provide, some new, some interesting packages. The first one is the quantum stock package. We all heard about the quantum stocks that made some significant movement in the end of 2024. We gathered all those quantum stocks into one package. It's a more volatile universe to whom of you that likes the risk, and took all the stocks that related to this quantum generation chips and computers, and put them in one package that's focusing on those specific stocks. And that is one of the packages that is available only in our webinar sale. The quantum packages, we can see an example of this package from February 17. We have NVDA, AMD, NXPI, QBTS that were suggested to go long in this specific short time forecast of 3 days. So this is one of the interesting packages that we have. Another one is the Buzz package. I think the majority of you already know this package, which takes all the interesting stocks that everybody talks about them, that you find in the news, in the social media, that you have a coffee break with your friends and talk about the stock. So those stocks will appear in this package. That's the list of the stocks that you can find in this package. If it's, of course, the Max 7, if it's NVDA, Apple, Visa, Tesla, Oracle, FedEx, ExxonMobil, Ford, that is also jumping today. And we also added the gold prediction, the silver prediction, and the Bitcoin prediction to this interesting package of stocks that are mostly appear in the social media and gather into one interesting package. And you can see some examples from the last few days. If it's Palantir that jumped, or Hood, CVNA, Uber, we saw a Bitcoin prediction, Sophie, which is also an interesting stock. That's from the last few months. And also, even from today, we can see that the Buzz package, although we can see that the majority of the stocks in the 7 days were red, we have two stocks that was in the green side of the table, CLH and Ford, that both of them are going up or went up in the beginning of this trading day, and CVNA and AFRM, which are located, and UPST is also, by the way, located in the bottom and moved down, as we can see here. Another interesting.
AFRM, by the way, that's located in the bottom of this forecast, is down by 9% as we speak.
Yeah. Another interesting forecast is the AI package that holds all the AI stocks, AI-related stocks. And we can find there stocks such as TWLO, Palantir, Google, ZM, SQ, SE, and a really popular package that we are presenting right now, AI package. All the AI stocks that are available in the US market, and the algorithm scan them all and give you the best opportunities for different 6 time frames. So the AI package is also available in our webinar sale. And we remember the Palantir was suggested on October 31, and we saw a really nice movement of 88% of PLTR, which in this case has one of the highest predictability levels. And in those 3 months, moved 88%. That's from the AI universe. Another interesting package that's also available only on our webinar sales is the Trump package. In the Trump package, we can find all the stocks that actually are in Trump agendas. If it's the aerospace and defense, we got all this sector inside the Trump package, all the stocks that are in this specific universe. So as the energy, XLE, the Max 7 there, the crypto stocks such as MSTR, Mara, Riot, AI stocks that we saw in the artificial intelligence package, and tech stocks. All of those are in one interesting package that is also available only on the 1+1 webinar sales that I'm going to present to you shortly. And one of the interesting packages that we can offer you today, the ETF package that we just talked about, that actually focused on the European ETF, as we saw earlier, EWI, EWD, FEZ. We saw that forecast early in this webinar. And just to give you a quick view of how it looks from the beginning of the year, those are the European ETFs. We can find Italy, Sweden, Eurostock 50, all moving up from beginning of 2025, while the S&P moved down by 2%. So you don't have to be always locked on the US stocks. You can diverse your portfolio, and doing that in this specific package, in the ETF package, that suggesting you on a daily basis the most geographical interesting ETFs or different sectors from different universe. I really recommend on this specific package, the ETF package. I think it's really interesting for this time. And of course, it's a long and short ETF. You get both positions, long and short, 10 ETF for long and 10 ETFs to short it. And you can see those examples that we saw earlier from the beginning of the year of the ETF packages. And so this is the webinar sale that we suggest you. The first sale is 1+1 for $299 per month, and no commitment. You can cancel it anytime, and you can choose 2 packages out of the packages that we saw in this webinar. If it's the XLP universe, if it's the XLV, the healthcare, if it's the communication, if it's the AI, Tramp package, Buzz package, top 10, you can choose whatever you like, and you can switch the packages on a monthly basis, and that you get for $299 for the next 24 hours, the special webinar sale that we suggest for you. And the link for that sale is in the chat. You can see it right now, and in the website as well. The second webinar sale that we have is a 12-month subscription for $269 per month, and you get 2 packages that you can choose. Again, if it's the AI package, if it's the top 10, if it's the Trump package, that is only available on those 2 sales, and you'll get the best ETF forecast for free. You get actually 3 packages for this price for $269. You can find the best sector to be in and then drill down into the sector as we did today. It's the XLC or the XLP or the XLV or European stocks. You can choose whatever you like, combining 2 packages that you can choose from, and the ETF package for free. You get all of this in $269 per month, and it's available for the next 24 hours.
And basically, every month you can change your package selection. So if you will see that another sector is emerging and there is a sector rotation in the market, you can switch to the specific sector that is leading right now. Of course, we will share the insights with you in this webinar, and you can utilize the most updated forecast in order to drill down to the hottest sector right now, and to basically identify opportunities from the leading sectors in the market every month.
Exactly, and those 2 webinar sales are available for the next 24 hours. I'll repeat them. One is 1+1 for $299. You can choose some of our unique packages in this webinar sales on a monthly basis. You can switch change those 2 packages, and that's available for $299 per month. No commitment, cancel anytime. The second webinar sale is a 12-month subscription, and while you get 2 packages for your choice, and again, you can choose the Buzz package, you can choose the AI package, you can choose the top 10, the S&P 500, and combining a lot of interesting package, and you get the ETF package for free. So actually you are getting 3 packages in this amazing sale for the next 24 hours. And let's talk about our choices. Yaron, go ahead.
So I think it's pretty clear why I would like to focus on the XLV stock picks as well as XLP stock picks and the ETF package that is available with deal number 2. You guys saw also, we shared the live forecast of the sector, the leading sectors. We saw that XLV, XLP, along with XLRE are leading the market right now. Therefore, it's very smart to focus on stock selection from those sectors. And the ETF is basically a very interesting package. As Ben mentioned, we are scanning hundreds of US ETFs, and we are identifying the best ETFs, or the AI algorithm is ranking the entire ETF universe and identifying the best ETFs. So in the beginning of the year, it was pointing towards Europe, but this package is a dynamic one. So whenever there will be a rotation or regional rotation or sectorial rotation, we will be able to use this package as a lighthouse that helps us to identify those leading regions or sectors. Ben, why did you choose the ETFs package as well, along with the S&P one?
Yeah, the ETF package, I think we talked about it quite a lot. I think they already understand the advantages of these packages, of this package. S&P 500 stocks, it's a more, it's a right now, I think some of the S&P 500 stocks are in good prices. We can still follow them to see where the market change the direction and getting more positive, and get them in the right in a good price. So I think combining those two can be interesting to your portfolio. One is diversity in your portfolio, and in the S&P 500 stock, you can find some stocks in a really good prices that eventually the market will go up, and you want to be in the market while it's going up. So I think combining those two will be interesting for your portfolio. All right, let's talk quickly about some artificial intelligence trading strategy that we also provide. As Yaron said, we are providing to our institutional clients artificial intelligence strategies, automatic strategies. So beside supporting and giving a decision support tool to our clients, we also building some automatic strategies, and we're going to show you a quick look of this universe. The first one is the Geeks Level 1 and Geeks Level 2, the main 11 sectors in the S&P 500, and the 24 industries that are related to the level 2, the Geeks Level 2. Out of this universe, we actually build some amazing and interesting strategies. We have the combined strategy, the long-only strategy, take profit, long and short, or low-risk strategy. But today we're going to focus on 2 strategies, one of the 25 S&P 500 stocks, which means in this specific strategy, the algorithm picks the best 25 stocks to hold for the next month. It's a long-only strategy, and the rebalance is made once a month. We can see the returns of this strategy from 2020 up until 2024, and we can see that it outperformed the S&P by more than 150%, and we can see in actually each and every year and each and every month what was the performance of the strategy compared to the performance of the S&P. We can see it here each and every year that we outperform the market and had some really good returns in this interesting strategy. And also the Sharpe ratio, which is important, was more than 1 and looking good throughout all those 5 years. And another interesting strategy is the top 3 geeks level 1 sector strategies, in which this strategy, the algorithm is actually picking the best 3 geeks level 1 sectors to bid, just as we did with the forecast today that we saw. That was the 3 best sector, XLV, XLP, and XLRE. So the algorithm do it automatically on a monthly basis and pick the best sectors to be in. This one is long only, and we can see that in those 5 years, the algorithm provide 141% over 83% of the S&P, and made some really, really good performance each and every year. It actually outperformed the market even in 2022. Well, remember, it was a negative returns in negative markets in 2022, but still we outperformed the S&P by 13%, and all of that just by holding 3 sectors out of the 11 sectors once a month. And if you want to know which sectors we held throughout all the rebalancing since 2020, we can find it here. We can see all the 11 sectors, and the ones that are marked with yellow are the one that the algorithm focused on each and every rebalance from 2020 up until 2024. We saw XLC, we can see XLY a lot, XLB, and the energy as well in the middle of 2022. So this is a really interesting strategy that we're proud of, that along our institutional clients, it's really popular. So if there is any institutional clients in the audience, please feel free to approach us by my mail that you can find on the screen, or by the website. Okay, so rather all the packages that we present to you in this the beginning of the webinar, we also have, of course, some big diversity of package selection. If it's the crypto package, to whom of you that trades the cryptocurrencies, you can find the 4 different crypto packages. As we can see here, we have the world indices package that we showed in this webinar a few times. It helps you to see the entire picture, a global picture of the world investment universes, and I think it's one of the most interesting packages. We have the fixed income package, commodities package that you can see here, currencies, and so as European stocks, but also look as quite interesting right now. The European stock exchange, as we saw, look interesting if it's the DAX or if it's the banks in Europe, the Canadian stock exchange, the UK, Japan, and actually every big stock exchange around the globe will provide the forecast that Italy, which also look quite good, Australia, Hong Kong, and even China, that right now is outperforming the American market and looks quite positive, and also India, in which we also have a big collaboration there with one of the biggest brokerage firm in India, and with Finvazia and their platform that called Shunya, that we are providing a daily forecast for more than 100,000 Indian investors for the Indian market. And we can see here that this forecast is available for them by the mobile or by desktop. It's a really big collaboration that we're really proud of. that the algorithm is providing a daily forecast for the Indian market for 3 days, 7 days, even the longer time frames, and large cap, mid cap, and small cap stocks. And in the last month that we had the webinar, we showed you the indices map. And by the way, by then you already could see the situation that's are actually mirroring in the market right now. And the interesting thing to see that the DAX, the European DAX was in the top of the table. We saw the volatility in the Nasdaq. VXN was in the top of the table again. We saw the Eurostock 50, one of the leading indices in the world indices forecast. This is the world indices forecast that is available also in the webinar sales and in the pack and in the website. And we saw those negative, those positive indices in the top of the forecast. AEX, which is Athens stock market, also was in the positive side of the map. And in the negative side, we could find the Russell 3000, the Nasdaq, which went down by 2.6%. And we can find the Russell 2000 also that went down by almost 4%. And I think it's interesting to see as well the European banks SX7E, which was located on the top of this forecast, actually moved almost by 12.5% in 1 month. It's actually quite amazing. European banks looks good. And we saw it first. And we actually saw the European stock market as showed in this webinar. From the October 13, we saw that the DAX is suggested to move up and was in a positive side of the indices forecast. So what's next? The question I think that we all ask, and for the next month, we are seeing those 4 sectors are the leading sectors from the algorithm for the next month: XLV, XLP, XLRE, and XLC. As we saw in the 2 weeks forecast, it's also in the 1 month. We're showing XLF is in the negative side for the next month. So all of these sectors are actually available on the webinar sales. You can choose those packages and choose stocks out of these sectors, which look positive right now in the market. Use the webinar sale to get and see the drill down of those sectors. And in a more general look of the market, we are still seeing some volatility in the market as the VIX and the VXN is in the top of the table. We're still seeing the strong European banks and the DAX leading the table. Eurostox 50, European stocks, Israeli stock exchange also look quite positive. And in the negative side, we still can find the Dow Jones, the Russell 2000, the airlines company, which doesn't look good right now. The housing sector, which also look quite negative for the following month. So that's right. That's the situation right now. We're still seeing some volatilities in the upper side of the table. We're giving more weight to the European stocks, European indices, which looks good right now, and the Dow Jones and the semiconductor actually and the airlines company are looking quite reddish in the US market. And again, summing up our webinar sales, 1+1 for $2.99. You can get the European stocks, you can get the ETF forecast, the best AI stocks, the Buzz, stock, and you can also add the top 10 or any other package that you want from the webinar sale, and you get that for $299 per month, no commitment, and you can cancel it anytime. It's available for the next 24 hours only. This is the first sale, and the second sale is getting 2 packages out of the variety of packages that we suggested you, and you getting the ETF forecast for free if you're doing a 12-month subscription for $269 per month, paid every 12 months. So this webinar sales is also available for the next 24 hours only. So use it. And of course, you can change the packages every month and focus on the best packages that the ETF actually packages can show you and provide you. So this webinar sale also available in the chat right now, and you can see the post deals are in the chat and get them as soon as possible.
Right. And again, this is our choice for the upcoming month or recommendation. I prefer the XLV stock picks, the XLP stock picks, as well as the ETF package that I'm receiving for free with deal number 2. And Ben preferred the ETF package and the S&P 500 package, as he sees some interesting stocks in a very good pricing right now.
Yeah. And I want to remind you that if you would looking for like let's say in the end of 2024 or the beginning of 25, when some of you tried to pick some stocks to buy, and I think the majority of you said that the price was pretty high, and the stock prices was really high in the end of the year. And now you can get some stocks in really low prices. So I think it's opportunity. You have to do it wisely, and of course, wait for the trend to change the direction and be more positive, of course, until let the waves relax a little bit and then get into the market. But yes, a lot of the stocks that we all know and like that are in good pricing right now. So be patient and remember that basically the market is it's supposed to go up at the end eventually, and try to find the best way to maybe join the market and get some stocks in good prices. Of course, you have to be patient and see that the positive trend is starting again. And it's not a recommendation, it's just giving you a little bit of a look of what happened in the last few months on the markets, and get you into good perspective. And so I hope you enjoy the webinar today, and we'll try to answer some of the questions that you ask in the Q&A. If you have any more questions, feel free to ask us through the Q&A, and we'll try to answer them all.
Okay, thank you, Ben. Let's go over the webinar, the questions. I think we shared some strategies and we compared them to S&P 500. Some of the strategies are running from 2020, so you can see the performance since 2020. Yeah, the idea is actually to help you, DIY investors, to utilize artificial intelligence in order to identify opportunities at any market, market like we see today, or market like we will see in the future, like more positive market. Regarding the option packet, there is a question, what is the option packet? The option packet is monitoring stocks with high volume. Most of those stocks have options, and then you can combine the daily forecast of the algorithm along with your option trading. If you have specific lists of assets that you are trading, like option trading, you can send us the list as well, and we can provide you a customized forecast. Send us an email for more details and also the pricing. Regarding the level 2, we have provided, there is some request to uncover also the level 2 forecast. I think you can get a lot from the level 1, and also you can understand the level 2 picture based on the predictions that we have shared. I hope it's okay. Regarding actually entering stock, there is a question regarding how to enter and how to exit the stock recommendation. Basically, Ben, maybe you want to address this one.
Entering position is while you get the forecast, try to enter the position as close as you can to the opening price, or actually the last closing price. And the recommendation is for the time frame that you choose the stock from, but you get the forecast on a daily basis, so you can update it on a daily basis on the stocks that you are holding for each and every different time frame. And basically, as said, we are suggesting to focus on the 3 months, the 1 month time frames, while we can find the highest predictability levels and the highest signals, and that can actually help you to outperform the market. So try focusing on the high predictabilities levels, the longer time frame, and the results will come.
Right. And there is a question, if I'm receiving a daily prediction for 6 different time frames, how do I know which one to use and which one, and how to adjust my portfolio? So every day you are receiving the daily updated forecast with the best opportunities that the AI is identifying for different time frames. The short-term predictions are more dynamic, as we saw today, and they might change on a daily basis. The long-term and the mid-term predictions are changing as well, but they are changing less often. And one of the optional strategies is basically to combine the different time frames and to try to choose stocks that appearing on the different time frames that the algorithm is predicting. This is one optional strategy. Another strategy is to use the sector prediction and to create like a sector rotation strategy to identify the leading strategy or the leading sector, as we did today, and then to drill down into the recommended sector and to choose stocks from this leading sector. The general packages, the top 10, top 20, and the top 5 packages include stocks from different sectors. You can use the predictions that we shared today in order to choose stocks from the leading sectors as well. Another advantage of the top 10, top 20, and the top 5 packages that are, all those packages include also daily S&P 500 forecast. So you can get insights regarding the market direction and the market predicted direction in the different time frames, 6 different time frames, short term, mid term, and also long term. Okay, Ben. How's the market? How's the market right now?
The market is still going down. The Nasdaq is 3.5, S&P is 2.3, and still looks a bit negative. Tesla is going down about 12%, and actually going back to the prices before Trump was starting his to be the president of the U.S. and seeing some interesting prices for some of the stocks. And I personally doesn't think that we can go down a lot more. I mean, I think we might hit the bottom in the next few days, but it's just my opinion and not a recommendation. But still, we have to follow the market and follow the forecast actually and see what's going to happen.
Exactly. This is the best strategy that we are suggesting. Follow the AI, the daily forecast that the AI is generating. Focus on the most predictable assets from the prediction, and also focus on the strongest signal, like we did today. And Ben, I think the webinar was very, very interesting, but this is my opinion. Feel free to share your opinion in the Q&A as well. And we are inviting you guys to test drive the predictive algorithm without any commitment from your side. Use the links that are appearing in the chat right now. And of course, we would like to see you in our WhatsApp group, in our WhatsApp community. We are sharing many interesting things there. Webinars, videos, newsletters, live predictions. So feel free to use the link that's appearing in the chat right now in order to join the group, or you can scan the barcode that Ben is sharing right now.
Sure. And thank you guys for joining us, and see you in the next webinar. And we hope to see some more green colors up until the next time.
Ben, I have a news for you. It's eventually the markets are always going up, so it's going to be, we're going to see also green days in the market. It's part of the market, those negative and volatility. This is part of the game.
I agree.
Okay. Ben, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you, Yaron.
And have a nice day. Thank you very much, guys. It was a pleasure.